How are you, Brian?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great, thank you. And it's awesome to chat with you again after we last spoke for Spontaneous, a
Yeah.
movie I really loved. And it was exciting to see you tackling a movie like this. And I know what I was watching, I just couldn't relax the whole time. So I'm curious, when you sat down to put together what is a largely dialogue-free story, how challenging was it for you to create that just non-stop tension?
At what stage? I guess it's a different at every stage. No, like in the writing of it, it was really fun because it was just taking. It wasn't about the dialogue. It was about what are the obstacles that this character has, and so it was something that I didn't realize there was no dialogue for a really long time, which it probably made me an idiot. But like, I don't outline when I write. I just kind of go where the winds take me and find where I land. Which also probably makes me an idiot, but it's just how I've always done it. And so yeah, it just kind of became, it's like wanting to do away with the classic trope of like she sees, a TV that's like, in France today there was sightings of saucers, like so she, you're taking away those kind of safety blankets for the character where she doesn't know what's going on. And that to me is the scary part is trying to figure out what's happening. And so part of that was taking out the electricity in her house. And so I think for us, it was kind of just a byproduct of like, what's the scariest we can make this world for the character, and then also like emphasize how isolated she is. Like the title says, like she is alone, and there's no one that's there to kind of help her, and that kind of being part of the nightmare of the movie. And then in the second half of that, like in post, it was just making sure, once our movie, I think, is a little unusual in that like our aliens show up very early. Usually they show up a lot later, and they show up very in your face pretty early. And then it was just a matter of like, okay, how do we keep making sure the threats feel new and exciting, and that also like we're not taking breathers. It's like, we're in hell with Kaitlyn as much as we can, because I really wanted it to feel like an experiential movie that you feel like you're right there beside her, kind of holding her hand, even if you wanted to let go and run away. And so it's just about like, okay, let's be really relentless and just yeah, let's just go. And I like
Oh,
short movies, man. I can't with these 3 hour things.
yeah, it came together great, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be talking about the alien design, which I thought was incredible. But I was also
Oh,
almost
cool.
more fascinated by the sound design and their language, which
Yeah.
maybe I guess is the main source of dialogue in the film.
It is.
So
There's a
process
lot of dialogue in this movie. Yeah.
yeah, to create that, what did that look like? Because again, very unique.
Yeah, I think well we knew I as soon as I started writing, I wanted to use the grays because I love that design, and I just as an audience member I had felt underfed. Um I was, I would kind of joke like we get like so many Draculas a year, and but like I want a gray. Like I felt like the alien design had moved so far away from the gray, and I was like, I miss it, and that probably was part of the reason why I made the movie, was just to kind of feed my desire. And I think what was so great about it was okay, we kind of have that archetype design. How do we build off of it? And I knew really early on that I really wanted to convey that these guys were smart. Like that you could imagine that they were smart enough to kind of get here. And as soon as you meet them, you're kind of like, they're definitely smarter than Kaitlyn or any human. And that is the challenge. It's not they are physically very capable too, but that part of the problem is they're very smart. Like it doesn't take them long to really do a lot of damage. Um, and part of that, what I was excited about was the language, where it felt like that design hadn't really had a lot of speech in past iterations, a few as there were. Um, and so getting to work with Chris Terhune and Will Files, who are these amazing sound guys, and really come up with a language that a lot of the information Kaitlyn is getting is kind of from this language, and it's like repeated phrases, repeated kind of music. And they came up with so many cool and unique ideas. Like it really is just such a knockout bit of work from them. And yeah, it was, instead of Kaitlyn getting, news feeds of what was going on, the aliens are just openly telling her what they're doing. She just can't understand it, but she can kind of progressively pick up familiar motifs. And so that was just a really exciting idea, that by the end of the movie, like, you don't know what exactly they are saying, but they are saying something specific. And that was really exciting, that they are they are not just screeching. There's a real there's real intelligence there.
Yeah, for sure. And while I've got you, Brian, another bit of film of yours which I loved was Love and Monsters, and I know when it hit Netflix recently, it really blew up across the world, certainly here in the UK.
Oh,
So
cool.
would you be open to returning to that franchise if the opportunity comes up? Because I just such an underrated gem of a movie, I thought.
I would be very excited to work with Dylan O'Brien, and I've never met. I know Dylan, and I've never gotten a chance to meet Jessica. But I'd be really excited to get to do something with those guys. Yeah.
Oh, fingers crossed. Well, back to this movie, because again, this is a very special one as well. I've admired Kaitlyn Dever's work for a long time, going way
Yeah.
back to Justified. Really interesting choice for this role. What was it like pitching the project to her and telling her, the lack of dialogue and the kind of situations you're going to be putting herself in? Because I feel like you really put her through the ringer on this
Yeah,
one.
we did. No, it was, I think she was so excited. I remember the first time I met her, it was January 6th. So it's a very easy date to remember. Because of everything that, like, I hung up and I turned on the TV and I was like, oh shit. But she was so excited, and I think partially because she hadn't the dialogue thing, I don't think that was the thing for her at all. I think it was a really complex and complicated character, that obviously she gravitated towards that aspect, but then also it was so physical. And I think that for her was really exciting. Like, she hadn't done like the Marvel Star Wars action movie kind of thing. That was really important to me. Like, I didn't want someone that you had kind of seen kick ass. Like the classic, it's tough to buy like Charlize as like a defenseless person. Now you're just like, it's Furiosa. She could snap me in half. So having someone like Kaitlyn, that like you said, you have her in Justified or Booksmart or Unbelievable or Dope Sick, but you don't have her in this world before. And I think that just kind of instantly, there's nothing to latch onto your brain about her being successful in a situation where she could be attacked. And I think that makes it so much more nerve-wracking for the audience, because you can't point to the big, end game fight with Kaitlyn in it, and I think that's what was so exciting. And I think for her, it was just like, this really physical challenge of a character that she really loved and gravitated towards, but also, she had to run every day, and she was, throwing herself all over the place, was on wires, doing everything. And so I think she was just so tickled to kind of be doing something that was so physical. And it was great. Like, she's the best.
Well, that's awesome to hear, Brian. Thank you so much for your time today. I
Thanks,
had a blast
dude.
watching this movie. Can't wait for other people to see it as well. I think it's going to be a real hit. So thanks so much.
We'll see. Thank you so much, man.
Awesome chatting with you.
You too, man.